Alabama lands another safety in this class of 2023 as Tony Mitchell has signed his letter of intent with the Crimson Tide today, choosing Alabama over Texas A&M as you see it there on our RPM machine. Auburn in the mix, Georgia as well. But the four-star safety ultimately signs up with Alabama, Nick Saban, and the Crimson Tide now. Talk about his recruitment a little bit more, Bone, and what he's going to do at Alabama when he gets to Tuscaloosa.
I mean, this is probably a bigger recruiting win, for Alabama than most people probably realize, because there was a lot going on behind the scenes over the course of the last few months, especially with Texas A&M and Auburn. Took a visit to Texas A&M this past weekend. There was some talk that he could potentially flip to A&M. There was, they were considered the favorite prior to him committing to Alabama during the summer. Florida was also in the mix there at the time, but he ends up committing to Alabama. And Auburn continued to recruit him. Texas A&M continued to recruit him. Visited both schools multiple times throughout the season. Went back to College Station this past weekend, and there was always some sense that he could potentially flip to one of those two schools. I think in the end it came down to Alabama and Auburn. Even though he did go to A&M this weekend, I think there was a lot of attention from Auburn. Some good relationships that he built with the coaching staff. Zach Etheridge had recruited him for a very long time, and really connected well with him. But in the end, it was Alabama. They ended up keeping him on board, which many probably weren't sure if he was going to stick or not. But he's been a 4-year starter at Thompson High School, so he's won 4 straight state championships in Class 7A in the state of Alabama. So he knows what it takes to be a part of a winning football program. Mark Freeman, head coach at Thompson, can't say enough good things about Tony. His skills as a defensive back, can play corner. Is going to be used more as a safety. Very physical guy, 6'1", 205 pounds, has great speed. Is a great tackler, and definitely somebody that is going to have an opportunity to make a big contribution in Alabama's system here in the next year or two. Could potentially play early. He's an early enrollee, and he's going to have an opportunity there to see the field, especially with some guys that are leaving. But this safety class extremely talented, and Tony's right up there with those guys, and certainly somebody that Alabama is excited about having on board today.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, a loaded safety class here, and obviously a lot of drama going on behind the scenes throughout this recruitment as well. What stood out to Tony Mitchell during all of this, and what led him to join up with a group of safeties that might be difficult to kind of break in right away with some of the talent coming on here?
I think there was a lot of comfort in Tuscaloosa. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of guys on the team that he's familiar with, guys in the recruiting class that he's very comfortable with. I mean, he also was even though there was a lot going on behind the scenes with him and other schools, he was also behind the scenes recruiting others to Alabama, and trying to get others to jump on board with this number one recruiting class. But I think that the development at the position, the success that they've had with defensive backs, all played major factors. But I think a lot of it was just more just a comfort feeling, because he had been to Tuscaloosa so many times. Had been to a lot of went to a lot of games as a junior. Went to most of the home games as a senior. It was just really comfortable in Tuscaloosa. Had been recruited by Alabama since his freshman year. Had originally committed to Tennessee and Jeremy Pruitt. So it's kind of been a long recruiting journey for him. From committing to Tennessee, decommitting. A lot of people assuming that Alabama was going to get him. Then Alabama kind of seemed to be third or fourth on his list, with Texas A&M and Florida, in the lead. And then he commits to Alabama after taking a couple back-to-back unofficial visits down there, and then continued to take visits throughout the fall. So I'm sure he's we're glad that his recruitment's officially over with, but I'm sure he's glad it's over with as well, and has everything behind him, because it was certainly a long process for Tony Mitchell, despite the summer commitment to Alabama.
Yeah, it does come to an end today finally here as he signs his letter with the Alabama Crimson Tide. 6'1", 205 there. Out of Thompson, just down the road. Big in-state commit, big in-state signee now for Alabama. For more on this, guys, and all things going on in the world of Alabama recruiting, the world of Alabama football, be sure to check us out at BamaInsider.com. And don't forget, subscribe to our channel. If you've not done so already, hit that like button on the video. And please get in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think about Tony Mitchell and where you see him playing in this loaded group of safeties coming in here with the 2023 class. For Andrew Bone, my name is Trey Yanity. Tony Mitchell out of Thompson High School has signed his letter of intent with the Alabama Crimson Tide.